Next up, we're talking about one of the most feel-good anime I've ever seen.
On the 8th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me.
Come on, fuminsho, really? Usagi drop? We can do better than that. We need to talk about what people actually care about. Ram, Emilia, our boy Subaru. That is what is important. We're talking about Re:Zero, starting life in another world. Again, I like Sorceress Stabber Orphan and Bleach just as much as the next guy, but no one cares about those series. So obviously the root of this video is where on earth is my Season 2? I thought that Re:Zero was one of the best isekai series I've ever seen. I still think that today. The way that the characters are developed, the way that the world is developed around our characters, the way we focus in on certain situations that our main character can't get through, and we see different outcomes to that situation time and time again. The direction in this series, the animation in this series, the soundtrack, the voice acting, just top-notch in all of those categories. White Fox was blowing my mind. They truly were. There's so many great parts of this series, not to mention one of the greatest pieces of anime I have ever seen, Re:Zero, episode 15. Now, I'm not going to be dipping into spoilers because I'm not a piece of garbage, but if you have not seen this show, you need to do so right now. Again, I do not say this lightly, it is one of the best isekai ever made. The story of the series is quite simple. We find our main character Subaru entering a new world seemingly out of the blue, with no actual reason. He's just there. And basically, he's kind of in a video game. We've seen this time and time again in multiple series, but the way it's done here is more simplistic because we don't have all of this just arbitrary information thrown at us. We're just in this world. We just start. There's no explanation to it, and I love that. I love how we don't have to have a whole episode just explaining why our hero is there, or the rules of this world. No, our character dies and then comes back to life at a checkpoint, basically. That's kind of how this thing works. He gets to certain points and reaches new checkpoints, but when he dies, he always has to start back from there. And there's just so many moments in the series, as I was mentioning, that really just capitalize on this sort of gimmick of the series. It doesn't ever get old, it doesn't ever feel tiresome. There are some parts of the series where he gets so far and accomplishes so much, but then dies and has to start all over. All of those meaningful conversations he had, those relationships he built up, are gone, and you don't get them back. And even if you try to get them back, they're just not the same. That's what I love most about the series, and you see the desperation within the main character, Subaru. You see him struggling through all of this. The voice acting here is just fantastic. I apologize that I don't know the names of the voice actors here. Japanese names are difficult, give me a break. But they're top-notch. They truly are. As I mentioned, this is just top-notch in all the categories, but voice acting really stands out, especially in episode 15. Believe it or not, this kid Fuminsho actually did some fan dub for this series as one of the main villains, Betelgeus.
Aha! How comical! How comical! I pity you. I pity your wretched, ugly, lowly, diminutive, sinful being from the bottom of my heart!
I don't know what he was thinking. Apparently it got decent viewership. I don't really know, but it's cringy. So, that's... Anyway, regardless of that, the voice acting is fantastic, and I think that the way that it's just... The way the series builds up, the way that it's paced, and the way we're moving forward, there's always something ahead of the tunnel. No matter what we're trying to do, we see in Subaru's eyes, we're always trying to get something, get somewhere, or save somebody. And you'd always feel that it's a meaningful journey. You never feel like we're doing something for no reason. Even when we're just house cleaning, cutting vegetables in the kitchen, it feels meaningful because we know what that means later on when you see that the character dies and has to start over and do these things over and over again. And it's just, I don't know. And there's a lot of great gags as well. It becomes full of a lot of decent comedy and a lot of great, sweet moments. It's also kind of a love story. There's that stuff involved. So basically, it's fantastic. That's all I'm trying to say is it's a fantastic series. That's all I need to say is that it's a fantastic series. Again, the main root to this video is why isn't there a season 2? I don't understand. The series reached critical acclaim. It was hugely popular around America, especially. I mean, obviously it was more popular in Japan, but surprisingly super successful here in America. There's these OVAs that no one cares about. We just want to see season 2. We want to see the story move on. We want to see the next words that come out of Emilia's mouth. Now, unfortunately, I was spoiled on that. I shouldn't have been. There should have been a second season the next year. And I'm sick of studios, and I understand how animation works. These things are difficult, but we're dealing with a sort of Attack on Titan sort of syndrome here. Attack on Titan premieres, one of the greatest anime series that we've ever seen, but then we have to wait 5 years for the next season. And then when that season comes out, although great, just doesn't meet our expectations. There's a lot of just like those kinds of things. The hype is not there anymore. People don't necessarily care about this series anymore because it's been so long. You don't make a movie and then create the sequel 10 years later. It's just, that's not how it works. You gotta capitalize on the popularity. You gotta strike while the iron is hot. The same thing is happening for One Punch Man right now. And I fully believe that Madhouse should have just immediately jumped on that second season, get that done, because you know that this series is super popular. Now again, the anime industry is a crazy, wild animal, and things don't always work out as planned, and I'm not even sure if they ever planned on doing a season 2 or planned on the success of this series, but it's just, it hurts me. It hurts me right here in my heart, and that is a pain that I don't want to feel around the holidays. I apologize. I apologize, I'm being frantic here. I just believe that this series is very, very good, and I feel like it deserves a sequel, a second season, more than most series do. I don't know. Again, I can go on and on and on about how a second season needs to happen, and maybe one day it will. You know, we have these OVAs. Maybe those will be popular enough for White Fox to actually continue onward and develop more of this series. The light novels are apparently still ongoing. I've read a few of them, unfortunately. I don't want to. I mean, it's great that I am, and I'm exploring these characters more and, you know, giving the author actual attention, and, you know, come to think of it, maybe that was their intention on having people jump over to the light novel. In fact, it ends at a really good point where you could just jump into... That's aside the point. I want a second season to this series. Do you? Comment down below. Give me your thoughts on ReZero starting life in another world. Have you seen this series? Do you like this series? We need to talk about it down there. Fuminsho, he might talk to you about it down there. I'm not quite sure. I don't really have time for that. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, as always, or as Fuminsho always says. I hope you have a great holiday season. I hope it's festive. I hope you're with your loved ones right now. And yeah, you will see Dark Fuminsho again. This isn't the last time. And until that next time, bye.